Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. City creation basically we are discussing one of the topic that is future creation. Future creation basically we are discussing one of the topic that is India account. India account basically we are discussing SBI account, Amazon account, and the last is basically after 2 days basically the earthquake is going to happen. So that is the subject basically. In really basically it's not going to happen. Just taking as an example. In this basically we are discussing about the topic that is lava. One person told that basically currently basically the person who got the computer idea basically that was dumped long before by certain group basically. So how this child only got this idea basically? There might be some reason basically, otherwise why basically the other people basically have not got that idea? There might be some reason na, basically there might be some reason that this child only basically got the idea. So the condition basically is like this. So for this basically we have to create the same thing basically which was created long before that scene basically. So that's why basically lots of people says that Bollywood exists. Why? This is the main reason basically. Sometimes basically this type of situation also basically comes. So the world creator basically has created everything basically. Whenever basically he requires the stuff, he uses that stuff. And this Bollywood in this basically the Bollywood groups. So Bollywood groups are playing very dangerous role basically. Very, very, very dangerous. That's why lots of people basically are very educated basically. In Bollywood, lots of people basically are very educated. Lots of the mostly basically people basically are educated. Educated means in this sense basically. Education basically, I told one example basically. If you are basically doing 10th or 12th or 11th, in 12th basically, commerce basically, entire degree of commerce basically, MBA, ICW, C, everything basically is covered in the 12th and 11th. There are few paragraphs basically which is given basically, and there are few sums basically which is directly connected to the chartered accountant basically. You will not able to believe that basically. But for that basically you have to think little bit deeply. You have to think little bit deeply. So here also basically is like that. So the creation basically started 1 lakh project basically, from 1 lakh project, sorry, 1 lakh company basically start here basically I'm taking the example of Mumbai city. That Mumbai city basically is creating 10 crore project. From 10 crore project basically they are basically they are what doing, they are going to create 100 crore child. I will take one example. Assume that basically in Bollywood group, Bollywood groups are telling that basically we are taking 300 crore, 400 crore. So I will just take simple example basically. Assume that basically in Bollywood group basically few child basically the hero heroine's child basically got birth. So is it possible basically to track them basically which all from which power data basically that child basically got created? They will not able to do the answer basically. They will not able to give the answer. I'm telling you basically. It's not possible basically. Why? Because lava creation basically is escaped from Bollywood industry, and this is the biggest mistake basically Bollywood group has done. So that is basically not our problem. But today also basically if you start, then basically the mistake is covered. So this is basically new business basically you can say. But here the problem will become Sunil basically you are giving percentage basically to Bollywood group basically. So that is basically also comes into the picture. That also comes into the picture. So one of the person told that Bollywood group basically don't have the answer of this. So for that basically, here basically the thing is like this: 1 lakh company, 1 lakh company created 10 crore project. This is basically Mumbai city, basically because Mumbai is heart of the city. 10 crore project created. From 10 crore, the target is of 100 child. They told that 100 child's ideas basically is going to generate. These all are the ideas which is going to generate in this 100 crore child. In this, basically, we have taken one example of Microsoft. Microsoft told that basically, I am creating 1 crore child. So his contribution is 1 crore child from 100 crore. So he told that I am going to give these all conditions basically because child basically when it will happen. The human and the male and female basically gets attracts with each other, and they basically do the sexual activity when they attracts. But every time basically they do the sexual activity, every time basically the generation basically don't start basically. But when the generation has to start basically, that is the question basically. So that data basically is dumped where basically, that data Microsoft is going to dump where basically, in that 1 crore child, sorry, the 1 crore child condition basically. One he basically told that Microsoft basically has taken the condition, taken the authority of 1 crore child. So that Microsoft is creating what basically, Microsoft is creating that 1 crore child's attraction conditions basically. So when that child going to allocate to lady's body, that condition basically the Microsoft is creating. In this, basically, Microsoft have to take male and female, and other groups are also there. So other groups also basically you have to take. So you can just imagine basically, Microsoft has told 1 crore child basically they are going to create. So for that basically he is basically not going to directly create 1 crore le. That is basically not possible. And Microsoft is the top 10 richest person basically in the world. He only basically can do this because he only can afford thousand cities creation. To create Microsoft, basically he has taken thousand cities creation basically. So from that thousand city creation basically, he is creating what? He is creating condition basically. And condition of what? The attraction part basically he is creating. In Hindi basically it is called Sanmohan. Sanmohan Vidya. Attraction basically. That he is going to attract when basically, when he is going to attract to that childbirth process, when he is going to attract that, when basically that when basically is creating the Microsoft Bill Gates. So that when basically is very dangerous basically. When he is going to attract that condition basically, when he is going to attract, so that condition basically, Microsoft basically not, he is not a construction man basically, he is not a builder basically, he is not a designer basically. He's a businessman basically. But he know that he is creating 1 crore child. And condition is he is going to give. Nobody else basically can't give you the condition basically. He have to give the condition. So condition might be what basically. One person told that uh, Bill Gates basically have a habit of touching like this ear. So that condition basically he added. So whenever the male and female basically going to touch like this basically, that time basically the one of the child basically is going to attract. He added that condition. In this basically what was that? That was habit. So he added what basically? He added habit as a condition one. Now basically he told that basically I will add one more condition. That is the intelligence condition basically. Intelligence condition means, in the intelligence what basically comes into the picture? In intelligence basically the mathematics comes, science comes, ideas comes, English basically comes, communication comes, Sanskrit basically each and every language communication basically comes. Then basically the degrees basically comes, this comes, that comes, entire education basically comes. So he told that basically when that person basically is going to think up to this level, so that up to the level basically was one condition basically which was given to the groups, that is who are basically into the 1 crore creation. So that is second condition. First basically was what? Habit. Whenever basically is going to touch this, both basically girls and boys basically, the attraction basically happen. In attraction basically the childbirth is going to, childbirth attraction basically will start with. So that was one condition. Another condition is that was basically comes into the habit. Another is education condition also he added. Then basically he added foods condition. Foods condition means he told that basically whenever the person basically is going to eat this type of calories food, this type of calories, that means this many calories, this many calories, this many calories, this many calories, this many vitamin, this many vitamin, this many vitamin, this many vitamin, that many vitamin, this many vitamin, this then the calcium. This all basically he created one formula that if people basically who basically want the birth, if they are going to have this type of food basically, so basically child basically doesn't happen day or night basically. The process basically, yeah. So these all are the conditions basically. These all are the conditions. So he told that, so Bollywood group have to think up to this level basically. Because it's a lava creation already done basically. The lava creation is already done. So one of the person told that, like this basically, this was also one of the condition. That was the food's condition. So whenever he is going to have this food, he is going to attract. Whenever basically the ladies is going to have that food, that ladies is going to attract. So both basically attraction must happen at the same time. That time basically the birth will happen. Like this Bill Gates basically, that is the Microsoft group basically added more than 1 lakh condition. And from that 1 lakh condition, the 1 crore child is going to get birth. Same way basically, currently basically, you will not believe this basically. The Bollywood group has got some big challenging project. What is going to do? What are those conditions basically? Can you please give that out all condition basically? We want this many births basically. So do you have that condition basically which the power company is giving basically from the lava data basically? That lava data basically what are the conditions basically which has dumped basically inside the sand basically? And that sand basically is going to create this many child. So you have the data of that many child condition like Bill Gates basically has created. That is the Microsoft basically. I'm not supposed to say his name basically. So then also basically I told this name. So you can just imagine basically Microsoft what actually is creating. So you can just imagine basically what Microsoft is creating. So here the question is what Bollywood group basically have the data of that power data basically on the base of, for example, assume that basically the total child basically got birth recently. They have the data of power data basically when that basically energy got attracted and the child creation process started. That data basically Microsoft, sorry, not Microsoft, Bollywood group basically have it because somebody have that data. Why? Because birth is happening, child basically is happening. That means somebody have that data. Automatically it doesn't. Automatically nothing happens basically in this world. Everything is manual process basically. Automatically nothing happens anything basically. So Bill Gates basically. Bollywood basically group have this data basically. Then Bollywood group basically is going to say that basically we have created the software industry. Let basically we know the let basically we ask them basically because data creation is the task of them basically. But you have created Bollywood and then basically you are asking to, sorry, you Bollywood has created software industry and you are asking to software industry that data has created. So that's basically doesn't make sense. Basically. So one of the person told that Bollywood group basically are very intelligent group. Basically. Bollywood groups are very intelligent. So few people says that they might have tracked this everything basically long before basically because their responsibilities are movie creation and movie creation is what basically that we know. What if they can display one potato whenever the person basically is going to eat. We will take only of the potato condition. They basically created movies for from that potato. Basically. If you are eating potato, what are the basically energy going to generate from the body? Basically, we not able to believe this basically, and process basically keeps on happening of that potato blood cells basically because he's not going only going to eat potato. He's going to eat chapati. He's going to eat rice. He's going to eat oil. He's going to eat this that each and everything basically is going to eat fruits. This that each and everything basically is going to eat. So the process is going to happen. So the for that process is basically they told that basically we have created series, and you will not be able to believe that basically there are many movie makers basically in this world. They say that basically this is the final movie basically. After beyond this basically, potato is not going to create the ideas. So they have the final ideas, each and every ideas of the potato basically into that movie basically. Beyond this basically potato is not going to think. So there are many movie makers basically in Bollywood industry. They are up to that level basically. They create a one time movie, that's all basically. But there are basically very less. Less means 0.001%. Not 1% also. 0.00. Because it's very difficult. You have to take. Bill Gates has dumped basically how many conditions? He told that basically to create 1 crore child, basically he added 1 lakh conditions. And 1 lakh conditions means one condition, two condition, three conditions. In three conditions, basically, I have taken one example of food. He is going to have this many calories, that many calories, this many calories, that many vitamins, this many calcium, this many calcium. This all data basically when he both basically are going to eat, that time basically the birth is going to happen. So this is one condition basically. So like this Bollywood groups told that basically we have data basically, but that basically we need to collect because they have reached up to cloud basically. Lots of people says that they basically jumps into the software company and they basically ask the question of the software people to sorry they basically ask the questions to the software people basically. This is cloud basically you can handle this project that project, but then basically they don't give the job basically. That time basically they might be lots of people says that few people basically in Bollywood group basically they have the conditions basically. Few conditions basically they have because if they can ask the question of cloud wow, then basically you can just able to imagine basically. That means childbirth generation data basically they have it basically. So one of the person told that, yeah, what is this basically? Yeah, 1 lakh condition basically Bill Gates has created. Bill Gates means Microsoft has created, and he has dumped the sorry the project basically is ongoing of the Microsoft. Like this basically SAP is also telling that basically that is Maharashtrian person basically. I don't know the owner name basically, but I know that basically is Marathi because SAP creation tells basically because each and every creation tells that basically I am Marathi, I am Marathi, I am Marathi. So he's telling that basically I am Marathi, I am Marathi. From SAP creation only he is telling that. So we will not able to believe that basically. The creation only tells that basically he is from which caste. So that is basically different topic. That basically he should be proud basically that Marathi is basically he is Marathi and he has created SAP basically. So he should be proud basically. But I have not got job. That is also one thing. So you can just able to imagine basically SAP is also basically having the conditions. Basically. PHP is also having the conditions. Basically. Python is also having the condition. Java is also having the condition. So one of the person was that the group basically who are into the big level of development of Java, they know this everything basically. They might not be knowing, but after this video basically they might be knowing this basically that what actually Java is creating. Microsoft Bill Gates basically might be knowing because he is into the conditions creation. 1 lakh condition basically he has created. Like this basically Microsoft is not running basically. Like this basically the Microsoft corporation basically is not running. He basically have created 1 lakh conditions basically, and that condition basically has documented by the Bollywood group also. But Bollywood group has not done that. Why? Because they have not jumped into the lava creation. But they are doing basically. So from that basically they can take few data basically. But lots of data basically they have missed. That is this 1 lakh conditions basically. But they know that basically potato creation is there. So potato creation is also one of the condition. Just they have created, but they have to do a little bit integration with it. But that is very dangerous task. I'm telling you, very 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 dangerous because You have missed that topic basically. When 1 lakh condition was getting created, and you don't have the data of that, when how basically that 1 lakh condition has created. You have missed that data. So you have to ask Microsoft Bill Gates group only that what are those conditions. Then they will say that basically why you missed it. Why you missed it. That is also a question basically. He is going to ask basically. Because he will say that basically you are taking 200, 300 crore. Then you are supposed to manage this basically. Then basically they will say that basically we have the data, but a few integration basically we have to do. But without asking Microsoft, basically they can't create the. Then basically Bill Gates will have to do case against Bollywood group. If they are without asking, basically they are adding the conditions. Then Bill Gates basically have to take some action. Basically, that basically you can't represent my conditions in the wrong way. Basically, and this connects to Supreme Court and High Courts. Basically. For that, basically whenever the movie gets creates, that time in release, basically the lots of people basically checks the movies, and after that only basically they release the thing. Even basically the series which is getting created, that is basically uh, uh, that is basically checked by the certain group basically. So here basically Microsoft basically has not have, they basically don't have to worry basically, because Bollywood basically have that group basically who is checking each and everything. So just imagine basically how the topic has reached, how the topic has reached. So one of the person told that this everything is created. But then also basically you can modify the lava basically if something basically has left. But for that basically you have to ask to the set of group basically who are into this basically. Because you can't basically directly modify the thing, and basically you can't basically you can dump the lava basically inside the land basically. That is not possible. Yeah, basically you can't go near the lava data also. Then basically how you are going to dump basically. How basically you are going to dump. And where you have to dump the lava basic which is already created, you have the location of that data basically. There only basically you have to dump it. Assume that basically by chance basically mistake happened, and then basically if from this video basically few conditions basically got basically they modified also. They basically modified few projects. They basically told that basically few conditions basically we had it. So we basically sent the data to the lava department, and they basically can do the modify, but that will basically creates lots of hard work. That's why basically the project management plan department is there. Basically. They are doing the entire plans of the project. Sometimes basically happens that like agile methodology is there, Scrum frameworks are there. There basically the requirement keeps on changing, keeps on changing. Why? Because the data keeps on changing, data keeps on adding. According to the data, the live environments basically gets creates. In the live environments, basically they get few options. From that option, basically they said basically this option is okay, that option is okay, which option is basically okay. They basically select that option. From that option, basically they say that basically this is the change request which I required. So you can just imagine basically how agile methodology is. And in agile, basically the framework that is Scrum framework. Like this, basically Carbon is there, Kanban is there. Basically, you can say then basically many XP is there. Many basically frameworks are basically there. And waterfall basically is the oldest methodology. Why? In banks, basically these are used. Why? Because their data never change. Data, lots of people say that, but in this agile methodology, this type of definition basically nobody has told that basically data never data change. If data change basically then only basically the system change. That type of definition basically nobody has told that basically in any of the books. But if you go a little bit to minor level basically of the analysis, it will connect to this only basically. That is the data changing. Data changed, another data basically got into picture, That data basically got merged into the live environment. In that, basically, you can say as a stock exchange also, they basically collected the live environment basically connected to many different ways. They told that basically that way is okay. So according to that way, basically, previously the way was basically totally different of in the requirement. They basically told that this way basically is okay. They basically selected this way, and then basically the logic of the way basically got changed. That basically is the agile methodology and the scrum basically. And this basically everything basically you will not get into the study basically. But this basically can be add basically. If anybody who want to add this, then basically they can add this basically, this topic basically. But just basically you have to add some definitions basically. That basically perfect English words basically you have to use, because these all are the simple words basically. And people basically say that if you are using simple words, you don't know anything basically. And they basically rejects the person also basically. And they say that basically you are rejected from the interview. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the world has reached. So this thing basically which I told basically, that is basically in the simple language basically. Any normal person also basically, if one person basically is having the Bollywood basically, and he basically just learned the English, he also can understand basically that kind of language basically it is, because you can't ignore a single person basically in this world basically. Up to what level he is going to reach. So Bollywood group basically is telling that basically we have this data everything Sunil, but we just have to do the integration. But in integration basically they have to keep in track that basically they have to connect with the Microsoft. So either here basically we have taken the example of Microsoft. In this basically SAP is also there, PHP is there, Java is there, Python is there, COBOL is there, mainframe is there. Many basically topics are there. Basically. C++ is there, C is there, Microsoft is there. So like this, many topics are basically there, many subjects are basically there. So you can just imagine basically how to what level the world has reached. Basically. Up to what level the world has reached. So everything is basically conditions. Conditions are added in the data. That is Microsoft. Basically, I have taken one example of Microsoft. Microsoft has added the one condition. That is a 1 lakh condition. That condition he only knows. He only know that basically whenever the person basically is going to do like this basically for certain time basically, he is going to attract basically, and birth is going to happen. Whenever he's going to have this type of mind cells basically going to activate from the set of knowledge or set of ideas basically which is connecting to his topic basically, then birth is going to happen. But this has segregated by religion wise. Lots of people says that basically how this might be. Bill Gates is basically Christian. Bill Gates is a Christian, so how he might have kept the condition basically, because he basically don't have partiality basically, that he will say that basically assume that basically he want to give one condition to Sunil or Nair. So I am Hindu basically. He will basically give condition of that child condition. That basically Bill Gates only knows that basically whether he can give the condition. So here the question is the things basically are divided religion wise basically, or it is the nationality wise? How basically the conditions are divided? That basically need to check basically. Because you can't attract forcefully to anyone basically, you have to take permission, you have to sign, the Supreme Court have to tell that basically you have done this, we are basically approving with this each and everything basically they have to cover. The healthcare department is there, they basically will say that basically yeah basically that is okay basically, now basically you can do it, then only basically they can do that. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the things are connected, and that's very dangerous thing basically, which is created. So one of the person told that everything is already created. If anybody wants to do modify basically from this video basically 100% I am telling you basically, lots of modification will happen. Lots of modification will happen. In this, basically, the people who are into this creation, they will say that basically we will shoot that Sunil Nair basically. But that is not the way basically. That is not the way basically. We will basically get blood basically from the back of the Sunil Nair. Up to that level basically we will go. But that is not the way basically. This is the fact basically. There are lots of changes basically happened in this. And here the main thing is Bollywood has not, the Bollywood basically don't have this basically. So if one of the Bollywood told that basically, भाई तू कौन है तू? Who are basically you to tell Bollywood basically? So that basically, that you are also correct basically. But whatever thing basically are, that is correct basically. This is fact basically that Bollywood basically don't have this data. So they have to create it basically. If they will create, then basically that is good basically for Bollywood only basically. It's not basically good for me basically. I am basically not into the Bollywood and Bollywood groups. Basically, I don't have any friend in Bollywood basically. I am not basically doing for that person. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the stuff basically are connected. Lots of people says that we have created movies also basically. If they want this type of child, then basically do this type of activity. But that basically really basically they have implemented that basically. They have created basically. They have created lots of movies basically. But they have proof basically that. So for proof basically they have created their blood cells also. Bollywood blood cells. So you can just imagine up to what level the things are connected. Up to what level the things are basically connected. So here the topic is basically lava group basically, which are basically into 1 lakh company, 10 lakh projects. From 10 lakh project, 100 crore child is going to get birth. Their needs, their ideas mapping with that child according to the task that child is going to do. Each and everything are mapped basically inside the lava. The power data. So you can just imagine basically how the power group basically might be taking the data. That is also basically very dangerous question. Na, basically. Power company group basically how they know that basically the this many crore database, this many crore child data basically are dumped into that lava power data. So they are doing basically not basically easy task. Basically. They are doing easy task but tough task basically. Because they are doing it basically. So you can just imagine basically the task basically which is ongoing basically. So next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.